So you have to cut him and you have to get him out of here is what you have to do. And that's the most responsible thing I'm going to say about that situation.
Not giving him one more game to redeem himself?
No, absolutely not. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Why not?
No, goodbye.
Why wouldn't you give him one more?
I'd rather do it the old school, high school way. If you got to go for 2, just go for 2. I don't care. I don't care.
Oh, so you don't even need a kicker then?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm sure there's other kickers you can find, so I'm not worried about them finding a kicker between now and next week. But no more. We're not doing we're investing in the future. There's no investment. It's a zero-sum game, sir. You either make the kick or you don't make the kick. You couldn't make the kick, goodbye.
So are you on a game-by-game basis, so whoever they bring in next week,
fine with
if
me.
they miss,
Yep, that's fine.
What's the threshold?
That's fine. Missing kicks, that's the threshold. Either make or miss the kick.
How many?
That's the threshold.
1, 2, 3?
As many as it takes. And we are in a week-by-week thing. If you make the kicks, then you get to stay another week. If you don't, I'll just find somebody else. I'm dead serious. Is that a problem? Do you have a problem with that? I'm trying to be responsible.
I don't think it's a problem. I just don't know that your angle will get them to the finish line of what they're looking for.
Oh, there's a finish line.
Yeah, I don't.
What are they looking for? I want to know.
I don't think. Well, they're looking for
a guy who can make kicks,
a permanent kicker.
So
yes.
This guy can't make the kick, so move on to the next guy.
Okay, well, it's just one game he didn't make the kicks.
I don't care. And I don't know him from Adam. They didn't draft the guy. They didn't sign him like they did Dustin Hopkins. Like when you drafted a guy, like, all right, we're gonna deal with this. And when they signed Dustin Hopkins, and then he immediately started missing kicks. All right, I guess we're gonna deal with this. I didn't sign this guy to a big deal. They didn't draft this guy. Be gone. Goodbye.
Yeah, I'm
trying to be responsible and as nice as I can about it. I know he didn't do it on purpose.
Basically, what you're saying now is what the internet said yesterday. I just don't know that helps the situation.
Doesn't hurt the situation. Doesn't hurt it. He missed the kicks.
I don't know. I've only seen him one game. Do we do that? Where else do we do that in sports?
And that's one game that's enough to see him.
Yeah, where else do we do that in sports where we just judge a guy by one game? That doesn't seem responsible. No. Actually, now that I think about it and say it out loud, it doesn't seem responsible.
No, you either make the kicks or you don't make the kicks.
In one game, he did not make the kicks.
It's the only game.
Are you assuming he's never going to make kicks again? He's going to miss all the kicks next week?
So you want to keep him?
I just don't know. I don't know anything about him. I'm not going to lie and act like, other than he went to Syracuse, he was a Lou Groza winner, so he was really good.
Congratulations on all his success.
College. And then whatever competition they had, which I kind of called out a few weeks ago, and everybody laughed. They're like, oh, wait, what are you talking about, Lyman? You're just looking for a reason to be negative. I'm like, I don't know, hiding the cameras and hiding the kickers from the fans.
So you want to have should we have like a Tuesday special?
I just think of all the ways to do a kicking competition. They chose the one that would be the least accurate in simulating what actual Sundays is like. I'm not even saying you're necessarily going to be able to bring in, 70,000 people for a kicking competition. I don't know that you have that many people that care about it. Although after that, maybe you would. Maybe this week, if Kevin Stefanski said, listen, we had our competition, we thought he was ready, but that wasn't anything like a real football game.
There you go.
Browns fans, will you come out and watch a kicking competition as we pull people off the street and off the waiver wire? Will you guys come and support the Browns and help determine who the next kicker is by making lots of noise to make it seem like a real football game?
I bet they will.
How many would they get?
I bet you would get some people.
Tickets would be free, of course.
I bet you would get around...
actually, they should pay us.
I bet you'd get 7,000.
The team that's worth $5 billion and is just building this fancy dome, they should pay us to come out and help their football team.
I bet you get 7,000, somewhere in there. I bet you'd get a few thousand people at least. You wouldn't get 60, but you'd get some people in there. And the thing is that everything they say is louder because it doesn't get lost in the sea of the echo of the crowd. But I figured you would be difficult like this. But
I don't even know if I'm being difficult.
Oh, I think you're being difficult.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're being difficult.
I've said before, I don't know what is the science in picking kickers?
They either hit the kicks or they don't hit the kicks. It's that simple.
Well, what would be this? What's the science in determining who's best at that?
Anthony,
what's the Ken Carman formula?
I wish I could tell you.
Because I don't think the formula is...
I don't know it.
If they bring in a new guy next week and he misses kicks, get rid of him too. I don't think that...
If they bring in a new guy next week, I want to be on the record for everybody. If they bring in a new guy next week and he misses kicks, get rid of him too. And then if the next guy goes up against Green Bay and he misses kicks,
does this sound like a sound formula for a football team?
I don't care. That's the point of it.
I know you don't, but you're not on the hook. You're not. And you don't everybody.
And
Ken Carman doesn't fire anybody, so it doesn't matter in Ken's world. Nobody actually faces any kind of accountability on
apparently he does here because I'm sorry, this is the business you've chosen, and if we keep getting the same results out of these kickers, well then real pieces are going to be gone. So I can't do it.
Now here's one thing I did not understand.
What?
Stefanski after the game was asked, "What did you say to the kicker?"
Is it Stefanski or Stinkfanski? Like the guy emailed me.
That's a good one.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
That's a new twist on the name.
Stinkfanski is what I got emailed.
He said after the game, well, he was asked, "Did you talk to the kicker?" And at any point, he's like, "No." We really just don't treat these guys like football players. Now, I do see coaches who do go up to their special teams guys. Heck, Urban Meyer punted one of them at one point. So there was an interaction there.
Allegedly.
So why would you not, after the missed extra point, go up to your kicker and give him a vote of confidence or something? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Why do we treat these guys like they have leprosy? We don't want to get anywhere near them. As if they're pitching a no-hitter. I'm not going to say anything to him. He missed an extra point. I can't mess with that. Why wouldn't you go up as a head coach and go talk to your kicker? And like Shedeur Sanders talked to him. That was the only time we saw Shedeur Sanders the entire game on television. Remember, Kevin Kugler's like, I don't know if we're really going to show him. And I'm like, well, if it's a blowout, they're going to show him. Well, it was not a blowout.
Got another email about him,
too. The only time, over the glasses? Yeah, I got some text about that, too. People really don't like that, apparently. But it was sunny. It was a very sunny day. Why would you want to risk any of that in your retinas?
You're not allowed to wear glasses?
Sunglasses? The last time we did it, they were hater shades, and they blocked out all the haters.
And then we finished 0-60.
Yes.
Get him some blue blockers. So why was it that that Shedeur Sanders can go up and try to give him a nice pep talk, but the coach can't? Does Kevin Stefanski not pay attention to special teams? Does he not care? Does he think he messes with the mojo? Does he think it's not my job, that's Bubba Ventrone's job? Why, as a head coach, would you not go over to your kicker who just is... I was going to say something bad. He kind of leaked out under his legs after the missed extra point. You could tell, like, the body language wasn't great. Why wouldn't you go up to him?
What?
Are you not allowed to talk to the kicker?
No, it's that... I can't believe I didn't think about this. I think that what are you supposed to? What do you want him to say? That we're still with you?
No, yeah.
You'll get the next one?
Yeah, even if you're lying. You can lie.
Oh, okay.
What does it matter?
Would that add any extra pressure?
You might be right. They might just cut him.
Well, if you didn't talk to him before, maybe they don't have much of a relationship other than, hey, either hit the kick or don't hit the kick.
What a weird...
So if you didn't talk to him before, I'm asking. I'm wondering now.
The whole thing is weird on how these teams treat their kickers.
If you didn't talk to the guy before, then all of a sudden you're going up to the guy going, hey, I'm behind you. It's almost like the Bud Kilmer. Listen to the signals. And don't worry, son, I'm behind. It's like, you don't believe any of that. And you don't believe that with Bud Kilmer, and you wouldn't believe that if Kevin Stefanski walked up to the kicker and said something like that. So it's either, hey, it's your job, you're getting paid to do this, either go make the kicks or don't make the kicks. Was that his
first NFL game as a kicker?
Yes.
Okay, so I do think maybe it would help his confidence to hear that, because don't we give pep talks?
Just hit the kick for crying out loud.
That's great, Kenny.
What are you talking about?
I think he tried to hit the kick.
Then if you don't hit the kick, then find somebody else who did. You got what you wanted out of me. You want to be mad, and now I'm mad at 6-12. And I'm not even mad at him. I know he didn't try to make it on. I know he didn't try to miss it on purpose. I know he tried to make the kicks, but you didn't make the kicks. I'm sorry, son. You got to go. You got to go. I can't do this. I'll keep trying kickers until we find a kicker who's able to do it.
Would you be...
Lord almighty, you're trying to find every single excuse for some guy whose name you can't even spell.
No, I don't even care about kickers in general.
Get your head out of your ass.
I told
it's
you.
It's a kicker, just find a different one.
Is this some fake bad thing?
How's it fake?
Because it gets him off having to talk about the rest of the games. We can just pin it all on the kicker.
What do you want me to say about the rest of the game? I'll say everything you want to. I took copious notes here. There's notes that have been taken.
I thought you left your notes at home. You have your notes?
No, I have these notes because I have this folder, and I left the red folder. The red folder is what I left, which I'm very upset.
I forgot my notes. I've said before that I don't understand.
I'm sure you took big ones.
I don't understand why we have kicking in the NFL, and that's been a whole.
Would you stop trying to find different reasons to rationalize this? You've sat here. Think about this.
Rationalize
Think about this. What's the science, Ken? Think about all the different things that you've tried to talk about other than losing the freaking football game.
Why even have a special teams coach then?
But what's the point? You're trying to find. Well, okay.
What is the point?
This is the system that they had. So don't put this on me. Call it like it is.
I'm not putting on you.
what are you going to say next week?
I just think it's patently ridiculous to say, "Oh, you make the kicks, miss the kicks, and Mason make a kick league, miss a kick league."
Ridiculous.
But we don't do that. We don't do that for any other position.
Too bad. That's what makes the position that difficult. And what makes it unique? You either make the kicks or don't make the kicks.
So why don't we do that with any other position?
Because
it's stupid. It's not a smart way to operate in sports.
It's the way the game is played.
It's also not smart.
But it's the way the game is played. Leave him in.
Any team that would pride themselves in having a smart approach at every position would not say you give a kicker one chance, and if he doesn't make the kick, you get rid of him.
There you go, Browns fans.
Okay, so we'll do that next week.
Anthony wants to keep Andre Szmyt.
How good would you feel the next week?
Anthony wants to keep Andre Szmyt. Now you're finally on record.
I don't care. I didn't even know who he was before this week.
You don't care.
But I think your approach is probably the silliest.
My approach is the silliest.
It seems like
to leave a guy they didn't draft or sign to a long-term deal out there.
Probably not how a $5 billion team would operate. Oh, you missed the kick. Ken Carman says, miss the kick, make the kick. Get rid of the kicker.
What does the worth of the team have to do with it? Does a $5 billion team have to give up 3 first-round picks for a pariah that people don't want to see out there?
I'd like to think there's a little more strategy in how we operate in picking players and retention of players.
I'm sorry.
That just doesn't really seem like the smartest way.
But you're not making any sense. Does a $5 billion team draft a guy who spends every second waking moment of his day on podcasts ripping the team 10 years later?
So you have problems with everything else. That sounds like you have bigger problems with everything else.
Well, you're just giving me this one. It's a $5 billion team.
It seems like it's landing at the doorstep of the kicker when it sounds like Ken Carman has bigger issues. What are some of those? What are the
other bigger issues?
I know you started mentioning everything but the kicker. So
because you started mentioning that it's a $5 billion team and a $5 billion team doesn't operate like that, and I go, getting rid of a kicker after week one is the least of their problems. The least of their problems and the easiest one to fix. And that's why I'm sorry, buddy. I'm not trying to say anything nasty towards you personally. I know you tried to make them. You didn't make them. You got to go. It's a zero-sum game. I'm sorry. I really do, sincerely. I don't feel good saying it, and I'm not saying anything.
You don't
nasty
like going
about
after people's jobs.
I don't like going after people's jobs. I don't like saying what I'm saying.
But you drew the line at the Szmyt kid
because you gotta go. It's a nomadic existence as it is. I wish him very well. I'm sure he will do very well in the future in whatever else he does.
If he does
not
very
in kicking,
well, but wait, if he did very well
I
for
said
somebody,
not in kicking.
But if he did,
just said not in
kicking. I know, and I'm saying if he, you had your thought. I'm going to now give you my thought. Don't tell me the thoughts I'm not allowed to have. So if he goes on and kicks well somewhere else, what's the Ken Carman thought? Well, we gave him the one game, and we thought that was smart.
Yeah.
No, that would be dumb.
Oh, yeah. $5 billion organization would also get rid of the quarterback who ends up going on and having a nice career elsewhere in the NFC South. Okay.
Wait a second.
But that's not how a $5 billion organization operates. Okay.
Wait a second. You're comparing.
Sure.
You're comparing those two things and acting like they're on an equal level playing field.
Because you're the one trying to make some sort of an argument for keeping a kicker that nobody can even pronounce his last name, spell his last name, cares about. Just move on.
Okay.
For the love of God.
Then fine. Get rid of them, and we'll do this again next week.
I had the defense. I'm sorry. This is a twilight zone here. I had a defense play their ass off in the second half. They got after one of the best quarterbacks. That's right. I'll steal a lot of things from you. They had one of the best quarterbacks in the business going against them. They bowed up in the second half. They took care of business in the second half. I had Kevin Stefanski, who I thought, and people are going to disagree with me on this, I thought he did a great job of trying to manage the game, not getting in a shootout with Joe Burrow of all people, with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and taking care of it as best they can. They didn't really have a semblance of an offensive line, of a running game with their offensive line, and somehow Dylan Sampson still looked good, even though he had 29 yards on the ground, and I was excited about Dylan Sampson. So what's that say about your offense there? And then the defense, Myles Garrett showed up. For the first time, I don't know if I've ever seen that, where they had 3 straight sacks in a series and nearly had a safety. And Isaiah McGuire played his balls off yesterday, and everybody played to that level, and I can't hit kicks. So, no, sorry, buddy, you got to go. I don't feel good saying it. I don't like it.
I've never heard you as definitive on anything in sports as you are on this, and you're the guy that doesn't go after guys' jobs. So this is a Ken Carman first.
I know, and it doesn't make me feel any better saying it. It doesn't make me feel good. 216-474-0092. The guy somehow who doesn't want the kicker cut wins the argument.
No, I think everybody's going to agree with you.
No, but the thing is that you got me because I started it off and I was very quiet. And I just said, well, you have to cut the kicker and you have to move on. And by the end of it, you have me yelling and nearly cussing at you but which is what you wanted, which is what this is why you are the slippery wizard, because you continuously push my buttons in the dumbest way possible. I'm not going to say it like that. You continuously push my buttons in an argument that I don't know if you sincerely believe. You want to keep the kicker?
No, I told you in fact.
Oh, so you don't want to keep
I told you in fact
so
that
you'd make the same decision I would.
I sound like Don Draper talking to that little lackey. I don't think about kickers at all. I don't know anything about kickers. I don't know how you find kickers. It's an awesome scene. It kind of defines the entire show. Kenny, when we talked about drafting a kicker how many years ago, and everybody in the station got into a big argument. Mm-hmm. You don't draft a kicker. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought about that yesterday when
Dustin
we missed.
and I were right about that one.
Well, I don't know if you are right, because I asked.
I'll be right until we're wrong.
I asked the question, then how do you find a kicker? Because
trial and error.
Why is it that you don't?
Is it just that?
So why is it that you don't draft one?
Well, I always thought, because you end up, I really think kickers are a dime a dozen anymore until you find the right one. And until you find the right one, and it's always a question of how many games do you give him, even if you think you found the right. Like Dustin Hopkins was good until he wasn't, right?
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Like, why, how do we know, how did we know Hopkins was the right kicker, and when do we determine that he's not? It's just keep him as he makes them, keep him as he makes them. He missed him, get rid of him.
My issue is...
that doesn't seem like a good way.
The longer you're a good kicker, it's easy. The more currency you get within the organization to miss a couple of kicks. Okay. This is a terrible example, but I'm going to use him even though he's suspended for 11 games and what he's accused of is horrible. Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker started missing kicks last year.
Yeah, he did.
And there was the conversation that was starting to happen. Well, you're going to keep Justin Tucker, leave all the stuff we didn't know about or what we believe we don't know about off the menu here.
You're going to give him a longer leash.
But you're going to give him a longer leash. Andre Szmyt, it's week 1. He won the kicking job basically by default because Dustin Hopkins couldn't hit the kicks. I agree with you about the lack of pressure. I actually do. But I know that he's a new kicker, so I don't have to give him a long leash. And I didn't draft him. Yeah. And I didn't sign him. So when you draft a guy, you end up holding on to this guy because I think it feels really unfair to the fans where you put your emotions into it and you're watching guys go out there. And Joe Flacco played pretty well. Dylan Sampson, I think, looked good, even though good guy, he averaged 2.5 yards on the ground. And I'm like, man, this Dylan Sampson guy, he's a fire plug. You know what I mean? Harold Fannin, I know that he and Jerry Jeudy had 2 terrible drops. I get that, but I'm really excited about Harold Fannin. I thought that DeJuan got a little shaky later in the game, but I thought DeJuan held his own. I thought Denzel Ward was sensational, as always. Greg Newsome did the best he could, but he's Greg Newsome. I'm starting to name guys who really, they laid it all out there to try to win this game, and I miss it because I can't hit kicks. And I just can't have that, and I don't think Browns fans can have it. And so as non-emotional as I was trying to be, see, this is what frustrates me, is you get me mad. And so when I get really mad, I get really loud. And then so, well, Ken's just going to shout over him now. And they're like, no, I'm trying to be reasonable. But when I'm met with something that I consider to be reasonable and unrealistic, well, yeah, I'm going to blow my top. It happens. I'm going to blow my stack.
The whole conversation about kickers in general, it's so confusing to me because we don't draft. I was asking you why we don't draft kickers, and kind of everybody is coalesced around, you just don't draft kickers. Because the whole thing is such a crapshoot. So, I don't know, I'm trying to get out ahead of the crapshoot and just assume, every kicker is going to miss. So maybe part of me is maybe he got the misses out of the way. Maybe he would just need one to redeem himself. I don't know. That probably sounds stupid too. I don't know what the smart way is to address a kicking situation.
If they would have drafted Andre Szmyt, I don't think I'd be saying this morning. I'll be honest. I don't if they would have been hey, 5th round, we took Andre Szmyt. I know he's not a rookie. I think was he 26?
Yeah, he played in the UFL before this.
Yeah, so if they say they would have drafted Andre Szmyt this year, took him in the 5th round and be like, well, this sucks. This is really bad, and we're going to go after Andrew Berry for drafting this guy, but I still don't expect him to be cut right off the football team. But since he's not drafted, and again, it feels like he just won the competition based on default because Dustin Hopkins couldn't hit the kicks, and he went into the season really on a short leash anyway. I think a lot of people didn't have a lot of confidence in Dustin Hopkins, and they wanted Dustin Hopkins to just go hit the kicks and then continue to have the job. But since he wasn't able to do it, it's like, hey, this guy, I don't think he went out there and really earned it in so many ways. I mean, yeah, he hit his kicks, but Dustin Hopkins didn't. You would have taken Dustin Hopkins if Dustin Hopkins hit his kicks. And so he didn't hit the kicks here. This game matters. The preseason didn't matter. There's way less pressure in the preseason. I'm sorry. I hate to be so cut and dry. I'm not trying to be mean-spirited. I'm not going to say anything irresponsible to him or mean-spirited. I'm not talking about how he looked on the sidelines. We had one caller who dropped who wanted to talk about how he looked on the side. I'm not saying anything like that. Not saying anything like that. Not trying to be mean. Not trying to be mean here.
It's so funny, though. It goes to show.
Tough thing to do.
Because I heard there was somebody in town, there was somebody on a show after the preseason game that he made the game winner. And they're like, hey, the good news is in this game, for all the stuff about, they didn't have Shedeur Sanders on the final drive, at least we found our kicker. And I remember asking the radio. It was just me and the radio. And I was listening on a radio. And I looked at the radio and I said, are we sure about that? Are we sure we have a kicker? We do? Because he hit one in the preseason game. And yesterday was an abysmal day for kickers. So the crazy game that involved Baker, right? They were trying to orchestrate a come from behind win. Chase McLaughlin misses the extra point, so it keeps it to within 3. And then Koo, who's been one of the steadiest guys in all of football, he misses a 44-yarder. So it was just one of those situations. Jake Moody, remember San Francisco? Didn't he miss one in the game? The P.J. Walker.
Yep.
He missed.
He won. He missed it was almost point blank, and he missed it. Yeah.
Do you know last year? He was 24 of 34. He was the disaster all offseason. They're saying, get rid of him, get rid of him. Yesterday, has one blocked and then misses another one in a game they barely win.
Maybe Jake Moody will be kicking for us in week 2 against the Ravens.
He might.
216-474-0092. Deshaun in Cleveland. Hello, Deshaun.
What's up, fellas?
Hi, Deshaun. Go ahead.
Listen, man, Jesus. Listen, Alima, I love you, but I think you're wrong about this one. And I don't know why you want to talk about everybody else or why you want to get into what else? No, listen. Joe Flacco played flawless. Not good. 6 drops, 5 drops. He would have had 370 yards. Okay? This guy played flawless. The defense, what did this guy have, 103 yards? Receive or passing? The defense played well. The offense could have scored 25 to 30 points if they don't drop balls. We're fine. The kicker stinks. I don't care. I know it's his first game. He lost us a game just like other kickers. I watched the Buccaneers kicker and the other game. I see the other. I don't care. I was at the game. I'm telling you what I was at the game in the dog pound. The fans, we love the team. There was nothing wrong with the team. Nothing wrong with it except the drops. We can't have, I think, every single starter drop the ball, it seems like. We can't have that. But other than that, we need a kicker. Where's Phil Dawson? Is he too old?
I think Phil Dawson has back issues, in all sincerity.
Think he could have made that 33-yarder? Right now?
He could have made that one. Come on.
He could have made that.
That's all we needed.
In his sleep.
Man, I'm sorry. I don't mean to ruin. I don't know what I was talking about, but I just had to say, we played fine, man. And Joe Flacco played great, man. He really didn't have an interception. Just think about that. I mean, he seems like he changed his game in the age of 40. Well, he was dumping it down when he was supposed to. He wasn't throwing it in hard air.
Listen, that's why we're so mad. But that's honestly, Deshaun, you're like, you said he stinks, and I want to say, and thank you for the call. I want to say, we don't know if he stinks. I don't want him to be around long enough to find out. So he's got to go. Because, yes, I am angry that we lost this game. You have a bad defense in Cincinnati. You put clamps on him in the second half. You had the turnover because Joe got hit as he threw. It was a low ball, bounced around. Was it Jerry Jeudy's hands, if I'm not mistaken, and then into the hand of the defender? I thought for sure they were going in for a touchdown on there. You only gave up a field goal. You were right there for the taking. You weren't able to do it. I can't go out and play defense only. My offense, I still probably going to struggle. That's a much different story in Baltimore next week. I can't do it. Every game is so incredibly precious. This was a golden opportunity that was right there for you. Week 1, changing the perception of the franchise for a short time, I'm sure. Changing the perception of how we see the franchise, changing the perception of how we see the coach and the defense and the young players. You had Carson Schlesinger all over the field. Chance to change the perception of Andrew Berry. If they win that game yesterday, they win it. Think about how you're thinking about Andrew Berry this morning. Think about that. Because Harold Fannin looked good. Dylan Sampson looked good. Carson Swessinger, just an animal ass kicker out there. There's a dude that you found. Mason Graham, I'll have to go back and watch Mason Graham, but I don't have any arguments about Mason Graham. He's a defensive lineman right now. So I didn't think he got blown out of any holes, but I'm going to have to go back and look. Okay? But you got 3 rookies right there, and you're going, man, these guys are good. And we won the game 19-17. And we're 1-0, and we beat the Bengals, and the Bengals hate us way more than we hate the Bengals, but it's nice to beat the Bengals. It's nice to win week 1. Think about how different you think about Andrew Berry this morning. But you lose that game, and now think about how you think about everything this morning. That's the difference. That's why I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not going to take this personal, or I'm not going to try to be personal with the young man. It's just we got to go find a different kicker.